We'll just discuss about cystoid macular edema today, and then what exactly we might be seeing in cystoid macular edema is these are the things. So we'll just look into the anatomy, physiology of the retina, then terminologies and definition of CME, pathophysiology, and then the causes for CME, then its clinical feature, diagnosis, complication, and the treatment management. These are the one. This is how the cycle actually goes in, and then we'll just have we'll just walk on through the entire cycle, and then we'll just see how CM is going to affect our vision and how significant it is to treat. Okay, so basically coming to the anatomy and physiology, it is CME is in the retinal layers, and then it is like it mostly occurs in the neurosensory retina, and then it is like how it actually happens is whenever there is a blood retinal barrier changes, there is a blood actually starts to inflow into the retina. Okay, that's where it actually the edematous changes starts occurring. So whenever there is an inflation of blood, it is going to have make the retina swell. Okay, so that's how edema is going to be formed. So coming to the cystoid and edema, as we had discussed before in the previous classes, I have already explained what is the difference between cystoid and edema. What is cyst? Cyst is something like a spacious cystic space. So it is like there won't be much of fluid filled, whereas when it comes to edema, it is a swelling. Okay, so it might be either fluid filled or it may not be a fluid filled. It is a swelling. So it is like if it is cystic edema, it is an edema which has a fluid space which is a cyst. That's why it is called a cystoid macular edema. Okay, so this is how we name it, and that's how this is the reason why it gets its name cystoid macular edema. Cystic is spacious. Okay, so what is cystoid macular edema is? It is a mostly there is an fluid in the outer plexiform layer, and then there will be a fluid in the inner nuclear layer of the retina, and whenever there is a formation of such fluid, there is a something called there is a tiny cavity which is being formed. Okay, so this tiny cavity looks like a cyst. We all know how a cyst looks like, so it is like a cyst. That's why it is called as cystic cavity. Okay, so maybe you will just have a look into this particular video to have a better
With cystoid macular edema, blood vessels in the retina begin to leak. When this occurs, it can cause the macula to swell or thicken. Because the macula is responsible for our central or pinpoint vision, macular edema will affect your ability to see clearly.
Okay, so here this cross-sectional image of a OCT image gives you a how difference between this fluid accumulation and the cystic space is going to look like. Okay, this is a cavity. Okay, so you will be able to see something like a roundish, or it might be something like a ball kind of, so where you will continuously able to see in the layer of outer and inner nuclear outer plexiform layer and the inner nuclear layer. Okay, so it is mostly hyporeflective. What hyporeflective is, there is no reflection of a light. So when it comes to serous accumulation, it is at the between neurosensory retina and the RPE. So this is how the cystic cavity and the fluid filled cavity is going to be like. So when you combinedly see them, you will be able to see like a petaloid form. What is petaloid form is, it looks like a petals in the flower. So that is what is called as petaloid form. Okay, so this is how a retina is going to look like. Okay, So coming to the features, so as we said, it is like a cystic cavity. This is how we will be able to see when you put on a slit light onto the retina. So there is a cystic bulging, okay, so like a pebble stones. So that's how it actually occurs. So and these kind of cystic changes can be with any form of macular edemas, okay. And then when it comes to CME, it is mostly in a short term, and then if it is a long term, there might be a lamellar hole. So we will just see what is lamellar hole in the upcoming slides, okay. So if you look into here, this is how a lamellar hole is going to be. So there is a complete breakage, okay. So this is how the hole is. It is like, if this place is closed here, then it is called as cystic space. Because it is it has a breakage here, then it is called as lamellar hole, okay. So see here again. So this is a perfect example of PVD. So see here, the vitreous line is here, whereas retinal line is here. Because of the change in because there is a vitreous pulling, there is a detachment. So this is a part of retina which is which got attached in the vitreous, and then there is a complete laminar hole here, okay. So coming to the risk factors, there is always a post cataract surgery, the prevalence of the incidence of CME is up to 11%, okay. In case of CME in DR patient, the same prevalence incidence increases to 40%, and then there is a 20% decrease in the fovea macular sensitivity, okay. So then it is the diabetes, which had a increased risk. The risk ratio is about 1.8, and then the macula, in case if there's a higher chance of formation of macular edema after a surgery, in case if it is a diabetic patient. So other risk factors are the uveitis, then retinal vein occlusion, then the epiretinal membranes. So these are the other risk factors, okay. So incidence of post-operative macular edema in eye without even if there is any other complications with respect to surgery, the incidence of a post-operative macular edema is was about 1.17%, okay. So which means out of 100 patients whomever they are getting operated, there is 1.17% they might develop a macular edema as a post-operative complications, okay. So coming to the pathogenesis, most of the CME occurs secondary to other diseases. So it is mostly not a primary disease. So primary change. So it occurs as a secondary reaction to diabetic retinopathy, uveitis, retinitis pigmentosa, then post cataract surgery, then in case of a vein occlusion, and also some other hereditary diseases, okay. So this is a histological cross sectioning of a retina. So at first, whenever there is we'll just go in a process here, okay. So there is an ischemic changes. What ischemia is, there is a lack of blood supply and then oxygen, so which is going to increase the inflammation, and then there is a increase in cytokinin release, okay. So which in turn increases the whenever there is a cytokinin release, which is going to increase the permeability of a endothelium in the retinal vessels. That is what is going to lead to a development of a DME. So we'll just, when there is an increase in increase in the permeability of endothelium in the retinal blood vessels. So what is actually happening is there is a intracellularly there is a accumulation of fluids, okay, and then there is a swelling of a Muller cells, which in turn, which is a reversible change. At the same time, when there is an excessive fluid which breaks through the cell membrane, and then when it is getting accumulated extracellularly, so when it is going out, and then if there is an extracellular accumulation, then it is a irreversible damage. Okay, so consider these things. When second thing risk factor when it comes to is, it is a vitreomacular traction. As I said before, it is like in the previous slide where we have seen about lamellar hole, there is a posterior vitreous, okay, so there is a traction of vitreous from the retina. So see here, it is like there is a traction, which is there is a pulling of retina, so there is a hole formation here, there is a cystic formation here, okay. So this is how vitreous traction is going to cause a edematous changes. So here even it is like if it is a complete PVD, there is no problem. It is like there is a entire PVD is vitreous is going to get detached, and then there is no damage to a retina. When it is an incomplete vitreous detachment, see here, in this case there is a vitreous detachment here and this area, whereas here there is a attachment. So this is called as a incomplete posterior vitreous detachment. So what will happen is, when this is a portion where it strongly adheres to the retina, so and when this gets pulled in, there is a pulling of retina, and then there is a vitreous the CME formation, okay. Other risk factors that leads to CME is the ocular inflammatory diseases. See, there is a, in case of a uveitis, there is a higher association, because with inflection of T cell lymphocytes and CD4 plus subtype, it is like both are T cells, so that is what is going to stimulate CME, okay. So what exactly the T cells actually do is, they are the one which is going to stimulate cytokinin, which in turn increases the permeability of endothelium in the blood vessels, in the retinal vessels of endothelium, okay. So look here. So what exactly happening here is, whenever there is a T cell release, these T cells are going to increase the cytokinin, which is disturbing the blood retinal barrier, okay. So once the blood retinal barrier is going to disturb, it is like, what we all know what is blood retinal barrier. So it is like till choroid we get a blood vessels, and then there is no blood is not being pumped into the retina. So within the area, it is not within the blood vessels. That's the reason within the retina we don't have any bloods with pooled in, so which is being controlled by a blood retinal barrier. So once there is a breakage in the blood retinal barrier, the fluid will start get inflow into the retina. So these T cells are responsible for the disruption of a blood retinal barrier, and once there is a breakage in the blood retinal barrier, automatically the fluid will move on to. So again there is a swelling of a Muller cell, and then there is a CME formation, okay. So this is how the swelling is actually going to be, okay. Then post cataract surgery, it is like we all know cataract surgery is the most common surgery which is done in the ophthalmol, and then in case of photoemulsification which act as a both thermal, chemical, mechanical stimulation to the eye, and then it generates a wide range of inflammatory response. Okay, so it actually forms the prostaglandin analogs, and then it leads it is a main cause which is leading to the blood aqueous barrier breakdown, and then once there is a blood aqueous barrier breakdown, there is a cystic accumulation, and then there is an extracellular intraretinal fluid which is going to which influxes into the retina. Okay, so approximately there are 20% of the patient, though they don't have any other complications with respect to surgery, they develop a they develop a CME. Okay, so when you are supposed to observe for CME retina is soon after, it is maybe within a month or two, there will be a development of a CME post-operatively. So that's how inflammatory changes to foci emulsification is. Okay, so so then it is a retinal vascular diseases. Okay, so here in case of a diabetic macular edema, so this is diabetic macular edema is again a caused by increased blood glucose value. So what is actually happening here is, whenever there is a diabetic macular edema, we all know there is an increased retinal thickness of at the foveal center. Okay, so then which is again going to stimulate blood retinal barrier breakage, and then there is a leakage of aneurysm, and then once there is a leakage of the leakage, there is a edema which is going to form. So clinically it is again divided into clinical significant, which we had better discussed in the previous classes. So maybe you can just go through that and then come back when we are discussed about types of grading of in the grading section of a DR portion. So here this clinically significant macular edema is again a form of DME, and then what is happening here is it is again going to have a reduced visual acuity, and then there is a detachment, etc. Okay, so what the symptoms the patient present to is, it is like the patient would come with a poor visual acuity, then there is a mostly the central visual acuity, and then there is a metamorphopsia, whereas the straight line won't be seen as straight line. So there is a micropsia, which means the entire image will be seen smaller than scotoma, where the entire there will be a patchy, and then there won't be any visual information in between. Then ocular irritation will be there, then photophobia will be there. Coming to the signs, as we had discussed, there is a loss of foveal depression. We all know there is a foveal depression at the center. Okay, so there will be, and then there is a thickening of retina, and then there is a multiple cystoid area in the sensory retina. So these are the signs which we consider in CME. Okay, then other signs is towards a optic disc, whereas there is a swelling of optic disc, and then there might be a laminar hole in advanced cases. Okay, so which laminar hole is caused by vitreous traction, and I think we had explained this in the previous slides itself. So coming to the diagnosis, this is how we go with the diagnosis as a flow. So we start with the history, whereas we ask for the symptoms and other systemic illness, and then we go for visual acuity, refraction. Then we check for macular function tests such as Amsler grid contrast sensitivity chart, and then once we confirm this, then we go for a OCT imaging, and then we check for a FFA to check for breakage in the blood retinal barrier. Okay, so again this is a OCT image where retinal thickening with is found with cystic hyperreflective spots. Okay, so then here when it comes to, there is again, when you see here, there is a loss, both the images there is a loss of foveal contours. Okay, so here there is a lamellar hole. Okay, so as we had discussed before, this is how a petaloid form is, which means there is a petal like formation, so which might be due to a dye accumulation in the cystic 4 in case of a FFA. Okay, so the dye which we inject in FFA gets settled within the cystic space, and then they give you a hyperfluorescent pattern, and then this is how it actually looks like. Okay, so see here, this is a little late phase of a same FFA, so it is getting drained. So see how it is looking like a petals in a closer form. Okay, so here this is how we actually change. This is a histological diagram, then this is a fundus image, and this is a OCT image. Mostly we don't get to see this diagram, whereas we always have to correlate the fundus diagram with the OCT for a better diagnosis. Okay, so coming to the complications, lamellar CME, lamellar hole is a very big complication, and then there is a atrophy of a macular receptors. Atrophy is there is a lack of pigmentation. Okay, coming to the treatment, so it can be divided into a medical treatment and a surgical treatment. So basically, in case of a medical treatment, we go with a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, then CAIs, then steroids, then as a anti-VEGF. So coming to the surgery treatment, they are the laser photocoagulation and the vitrectomy. So in case of a medical treatment, in case of NSAID, we reduce the intraocular prostaglandin levels, so which reduces the overall stimulus in reducing the permeability of blood vessels. So this is more applicable in case of a early stage, because this might take around 4 to 6 months to see a improvement, and then you will need to follow up regularly at least for 12 months. So when it comes to carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, it is like, again, this is the same thing which takes a more time. Okay, here most of the we give carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, we can again give it as a oral as well as a topical one. Okay, then comes the steroid and the anti-VEGF. So steroids decrease the intracellular and extracellular edema and suppresses macrophage activity and decreases the lymphokine production. Okay, so this is a major mechanism behind steroids. We all know what is the mechanism behind anti-VEGF. So it is anti-VEGF, anti-vascular endothelial growth factor, which is going to reduce the endothelial growth and then further proliferation. Okay, so only when the patient is not responsive to these first two options, we move on to the other two options. Okay, then comes the surgical procedure. We all know what is laser photocoagulation. So laser photocoagulation is the procedure where we send high intense laser light to burn the tissues, and in turn they coagulate so that there is no further leakage, and then it is just like how we seal it. So we seal it with higher light source, and then we make sure that it is not leaking or they are not getting further damaged. Okay, so thing is, this might reduce the CMTA, but at the same time there is a scar when there is a central involvement. When we move on with the laser, there might be a reduction in the visual acuity. Then vitrectomy, we all know, we remove the vitreous. I think we had discussed this in the earlier classes when we discussed about DIA. So maybe you can just look into how this vitrectomy is done to have a better understanding. Okay, so first line treatment, we'll just see the first line, and as I said before, the first line treatment is the NSAID and CAS, which might be oral as well as the topical. Then second line is the steroid and the anti-VEGF. Then third is what the surgery is. Okay, so these things we try with medications earlier, and then if there is a severe cases, then we have to go with surgery. Okay, as an optometrist, what we have optometrist role in this is, we have the low vision aids is needed, and then we have to look into the make sure that they have a they are able to do their ADLs, and then further they do their things for their own survival. So these are the things which you have to consider. Then when it comes to prognosis, CME is usually self-limiting. Only thing is, it has to be, though it resolves within a limited time, we still need a medical care so that there is a proper management. Okay, so can you just identify what it is exactly? So just see the image, just give an assumption, have your assumption of what is the interpretation, what kind of cystic space is this, then identify what kind of condition it might be, then why this condition has been caused. Same for this. Fine. Okay, so if you find the answer, what you can do is, you can just put it in the chat box below, so that we can have a discussion. Same thing for here. Interpretation, identify the condition and why it is. Fine. Just if there is any doubt, if you just put it in the chat box.